All right, welcome. Ben Lynch here with Jason and Troy from US Enzymes, and this is great privilege for me to bring them on board today because my knowledge of systemic enzymes is about that sentence. So I, I know how to say it, and I know kind of what they do, but I haven't ventured into this space because I don't feel like I'm qualified to do so, so I stay out of it. So I'm excited that you guys are going to be at ShyCon exhibiting and helping people out, providing the tools that they need. So thanks for that. And
Yeah, we're excited to be coming.
yeah, awesome. And so I was just talking with Jason and Troy before we launched into this, and Troy was just telling me that the tallest thing that he's ever climbed was the top of his house because he's scared of heights, and then he decided to take it to the next level, and his next step was climbing what, Troy? What was that?
Yeah, Mount Everest.
Yeah, yeah, a little bit higher than your roof, right? Yeah, I think Troy ran to go climb Mount Everest to get away from the mosquitoes in Minnesota.
You're definitely not going to find those up there.
No.
And they will drive you so wild that you might dream of doing things like that.
Yeah. So Jason, what have you got what's your hobby?
My hobby, baseball. I'm an old baseball head. I still play in a 35 and older baseball league and played in college. So my biggest passion is still playing a little ball. Awesome. Real baseball, not softball, wood bats, hard ball.
Yeah.
Real.
Nice. Good. Sunflower seeds or chewing tobacco?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, in college, I'm still undoing probably some damage I did to myself. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I chewed for a little bit until we played a game at recess, and I got hit. I got tackled, and I swallowed the entire chew, and that was the last time I ever did that. So
yeah,
lesson learned.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about enzymes. Oof.
Right.
Yeah. So let's just dive right into this. So you guys are with US Enzymes, and systemic enzymes is your game, and you've got a lot to teach, and some questions have come in already about this. But I want you guys to take it off about why should doctors even care about systemic enzymes? What patient population is useful, should consider them, and because you can provide tools all you want to health professionals and to the public, but if they don't understand it, they're not going to use it, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I'll just let you take it off from here, and let's learn something.
Okay. Troy, why don't you? This is kind of your wheelhouse. Why don't you get us started here, and I'll chime in as we go.
Okay. We'll start with C-zyme, which is actually C-Pros S. So C-Pros S was discovered back in the late 60s in Japan and was approved by the Department of Health or Ministry in 1980 as an over-the-counter drug. So this is what makes this enzyme unique is that it's a crystalline form. Every other enzyme that you can purchase in the marketplace is going to be in a powdered form. So the process that goes through it further concentrates the enzyme. So what we end up with is something that's 10 times more potent. And also, as a result of that, the amount that's required is very, very small. So it might be like a 10 milligram dose. So not a lot is needed. There's a long history, so you can check out all the research that's been done on this enzyme for the last 30 plus years. And Jason's kind of found a new, obviously what it's known for is sinus respiratory issues, loosening up the mucus, like it'll break the bond so that the body is able to actually expel and get rid of that. So very, very effective.
So what's it breaking up? Is it breaking up mucus? Is it breaking up a biofilm in the sinus? I mean, what's it doing?
Yeah, as far as the what's the term? It's like whatever's holding the mucus to the tissue or to the organ.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'll loosen that bond so that the whole thing can just be expelled, right? So it works from that level. And I don't know what, as far as Jason, your experience as far as with the intestinal biofilms.
Yeah, it's absolutely my favorite ACE for any gut-based protocol, because one of the biggest things that we have to work on once we get digestion improved and we start healing those gut breaches is to get at the biofilms that are, you know, they're from just chronic low enzyme, chronic low hydrochloric acid, and give the immune system a chance to break open the biofilm. So I've had amazing success with, of course, upper respiratory protocols, but with all types of gut protocols and anything all the way down to any mucus-based problem. Cystitis, we get amazing testimonials on cystitis all the time, but it's my favorite for all of like our detox gut protocol, and then anyone that's working in any kind of antimicrobial program. And what I love about it is, like Troy said, it's very potent. So all the research on it, you know, it points to what, you know, what did you say, Troy? So one capsule is got 50,000 units in it. And all the research I've read, you need about 100 to 150,000 units per day to achieve therapy. So with just taking 3 capsules a day, you can get therapy for your patients, so they don't have to chug a bunch of capsules. That's one of the things that enzymes is known for from back in the Wobenzyme days is, yeah, these things work great, but you have to swallow just a ton of them. What I like about our products is, you know, 3 a day is usually all that the patient needs when they're starting on a program. If they got something really nasty they're recovering from, we might need to go a little higher, but usually 3 per day is it. And there's 93 in a bottle, so you know, 1 bottle lasts a month. Yeah.
Interesting number.
Well, Troy climbed Everest. Obviously, he's a little quirky. So he's like, there's 31 days in most months. You know, how am I going to give the patient a month's supply if I put 90 in there?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Geez. I guess lack of oxygen gained you clarity. Well, the rest of us need to go do the same. I never thought of that. Smart. So, and when biofilm, you recommend the docs just go right at it with 3 a day, or you tell them to ease in 1 a day? I mean, what's been the experience that you're hearing from people?
The generalized protocol is 3 a day. And of course, with any patient, you never know. You're going to have a good sense with the patient out of the gates. If they're going to be hypersensitive, then you just go to 1. If you're dealing with a child, we'll usually just start with 1. But you know, your typical patient coming in, eating the, you know, the sad American diet, coming in to clean themselves up and do a protocol, they seem to do just fine on 3 a day. And usually they're coming in for, you know, the things that their doctor or you know that they need to clean up, their peripheral neuropathy or their diabetes or whatever. But the side effects of enzymes are often positive. They're like, oh, I didn't tell you I've had this chronic sinus issue my whole life, and that seems to be clearing up. So it's another thing I just love about, you know, especially this product is, but in enzymes in general, there's been studies showing that about 70% of people that take a systemic enzyme, they will notice some change. And, you know, I know that once that patient starts the program, it's so important for them to start to feel better.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, working with pathogens are everywhere now. Everybody's stressed out. Their stomach acid is low, so the pathogens are getting in. They're having a heyday. You know, they're making their biofilm, as we discussed. You know, and if docs start just whaling them with antibiotics or natural antimicrobials, you know, artemisinin or what have you, and I'm seeing, especially in the autoimmune population, where they get worse.
Oh yeah.
You start killing these pathogens, and you know, I've always wondered, is it just a bunch of the cellular debris that's, you know, the immune system is seeing that has to clean up? I mean, what's the deal? And then I've always thought that if you took these enzymes to come in there and kind of take the trash out, it would help. So what's going on there?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, who knows what is really happening, but for sure I've done tons of herbal protocols where the same thing, the patient gets way worse. Ever since I started using a lot of systemic enzymes, so that would move like the C-zyme is, you know, more of a mucus player, but we have a protease enzyme, we have the serratiopeptidase enzyme, you know, bromelain and things like that. They work really well for cleaning up different things. So whether it's a non-living item, so scar tissue, a dead bug, serratiopeptidase has just been shown to be just an amazing player there. Whether it's a organism that is hanging onto a protein and hiding from the immune system, the proteolytic enzymes just shine in that fashion, and they all do a really good job of breaking down the cellular debris and things like that. So the immune system doesn't take that hit, and, you know, white blood cells are able to do a lot of the cleanup work. And Troy, I'm sure you've got a lot more to add to that as well.
Yeah, I think that the main thing too, just with I always liken it to like a can of soup where all the stuff is settled. You know, you add a systemic enzyme to that equation, you're kind of shaking that up. So a lot of times people, especially guys, right? I mean, with gout issues or kidney stones, whatever, I mean, they're not drinking enough water. So, I mean, one of the things I always caution people when you start taking systemic or proteolytic enzymes that you have to take up your game as far as the amount of water that you're taking in, because that aids the enzymes, right? I mean, all the enzymes that we're talking about here today are hydrolytic, so they don't activate or start doing their thing until water is present. And then water also helps to facilitate getting rid of all the stuff that they've broken down.
That makes sense. Yeah, because one of my top recommendations across the board is electrolytes. So it seems like, you'd want to replenish your patients with electrolytes prior to this treatment in order to get the most out of it, because enzymes aren't cheap, right? Probably
Right.
pretty expensive.
Oh, they're expensive, yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
and so you gotta make sure they're getting the effect. And then I had another comment. So if let's say your patient comes in, you do a test, and you see that they have some viruses and bacteria, and they're a known autoimmune patient, and you give them the electrolytes, you hydrate them, you checked all that, you addressed it. Now, do you give them some proteolytic enzymes first off before you go in for the kill of the pathogens? I mean, what's the typical approach there?
Well, that's a really, really good question. One of the things about enzymes in general that, is they're not inert, they are alive. And we know through like biphotonic luminescence testing and some of these other, energy modalities that, luciferase, for example, was the first thing discovered as far as an enzyme that produced light. And we know enzymes all produce light, and that's how the body kind of communicates, biphotonically through the DNA. So what I like about, and the reason I'm bringing this up is it seems like the enzymes, when the patient starts taking them, the immune system will know how to use them because they are alive and they aren't inert. The body will be like, all right, we can't do this right now. We got to start simple, like maybe cleaning the brush border sites of the intestine, getting rid of the biofilms before we can go in for the kill. Whereas you just pound an herb or something like that, quite often it'll just start killing things right away. So it's kind of like they have a mild awareness to them. And, first when I heard that, I thought it was pretty wild and kind of crazy, but now that I've been working with these things for years and I hear the testimonials I hear from the doctors, it makes sense to me. And there is science to, back that up that's being done all over the world. So does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I've read something similar about it too when I've come across it in papers, and I was like, wow, they generate light. And I just I read it, and then it's like, whoa, that's interesting. And I just moved on, but I never thought about it beyond that because it was beyond my comprehension.
Sure.
So, but it makes sense. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
So again, like we don't really know what's happening, but I've seen so many patients that I know have got, nasty bugs, and they don't go into that huge, detox mode. They seem like they'll feel better for like a couple of months. And then after that, they'll start expelling like nasty things. And it's like, okay, so, the usual thing didn't happen here where they needed to just expel and everything right away. It happened slowly over time, and it happened. And then the evidence is in the, the blood work and how the patient feels.
So what I'm hearing is you would be giving the enzymes prior to the kill. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I would.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, and then you give the enzymes prior to the kill, general patient, what, a month? And then you go in for him, yeah?
Yeah. Yep. Most of the protocols our docs do are like 90-day programs, sometimes a 60-day program. But
okay.
Yeah, we always start we'll start with the digestive enzymes, hydrochloric acid for most patients, especially if they're over, 30 years old, and then start with just a really broad spectrum systemic enzyme. And then from there, get an idea what kind of plan of attack we need to take, and then use a higher potency systemic enzyme depending on, what we feel we're up against.
Okay, and I would assume you guys have some pancreatic enzymes too.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. Yep.
So let
We
me,
have two,
yeah,
two
go
of
ahead.
those.
Two of those, and which ones are they?
Digestzyme and Digestzyme Plus. One's just a higher potency than the other one. So patients don't have to double up on pills. Again, Troy being all quirky, doesn't want patients buying, 2 bottles a month. He'd rather just have them buy one. So it's one capsule per meal.
And the reason,
sorry, go ahead.
and the reason for that product is what?
Digestion. It's actually, it's got 23 different digestive based enzymes in the product, along with all of our products will contain catalase, for the free radical scavenging. Some of them have a higher amount. And one thing that we should mention is the enzymes we use are either plant-based or they're fungal-based. And the importance of the fungal-based enzymes is they can thrive in environments pH 1 to 12, which a plant-based or an animal-based enzyme isn't going to be able to do as much in those kind of pH environments. So it helps and aids in all forms of digestion.
So what about
where it is?
What about people jumping ahead of myself a little bit, but because I had another question I want to ask first, but I don't want to miss this one. So enzymes are coming from fungus, right? Some of them, or plant.
Some of them, yep.
So how do you tell patients or health professionals like, whoa, I'm hearing that your enzymes are produced from fungus?
We've never heard this question before. No,
yeah, I can imagine.
Right. I think this would be a good one for Troy to handle.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes back. I mean, the fermentation process, right? I mean, dates back a few thousand years to Japan and soy sauce. So very similar in the sense of, I mean, they are starting with different species. I mean, a lot of them are Aspergillus oryzae, Aspergillus niger. They'll start with some type of a medium, so that could be wheat, rice, corn, soy, whatever. It's a commodity at that time. A lot of it's wheat bran. They inoculate it. They'll go through the fermentation process, usually a week to 2 weeks, and then from that point, they go through filtration, ultrafiltration, ultrafine filtration. So the media is eaten up in the fermentation process, so that's gone. So then they just separate the original fungi, from the enzyme. And when you see an enzyme manufacturing facility, the front end of it, where the fermentation happens, is kind of the inexpensive, easy part of the equation. When you look at the amount of equipment and protocols and procedures that are on the back end to filter that out, it's amazing. So what you end up with is a product that's essentially 99.99% pure enzymes. And then from there, they standardize it to a specific activity. And then again, most of the enzymes are in a liquid form, so they'll go through some kind of a drying process, so they end up as a powder. But there is zero, as far as the people always ask about the media, because that's one of the things, like if you're starting with so-called like an allergen, how can you have that be in the end product? Well, it's not. So, and there's also an association, the Enzyme Technical Association, ETA. So as a body of kind of enzyme manufacturers, they've come together and they've presented all this information. And there's lots of great documents that they've produced and presented to the FDA. And the FDA has either not commented or said, okay, that's great. So again, there's no issue. There are concerns, obviously different types of fungi that are poisonous or dangerous. But these things, and one of the beautiful things, knowing the source of the enzymes is one of the key things here. And going to the facilities, because one thing that happens in Japan is that nothing changes. If I'm, the grandfather, I pass this on to my son, who's passed it on to, his son. So the strains that they started with are original, and most of these Japanese companies are between 100 and 150 years old. So there's no genetically modification happening to the organisms. There's nothing. So and enzymes have a 120-year history of safety, which is more than any other supplement can say.
Wow. Yeah, that's good. Excellent. Well, thanks for clarifying that.
And another question I get too is the histamine question. And again, I think Troy's covered that there is there's nothing left for the body to, there's no fermented product left over. It's just the enzyme. It's just the format in which the end product is gained.
Right. That makes sense.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. So a couple questions came in via email, and you have them both, right, Troy? You want to take a moment to answer those?
Yeah, Jason, you want to do the first one?
Yeah, it was about fiber, I believe.
You want me to get it for you, or you have it?
If you just give me a moment. Because one of the products that we do carry that we haven't mentioned yet is a product that contains the fiber, but it's a hydrolyzed fiber. So you don't have to worry about things fermenting in transition with the gut. And I think that was the question. I'm just pulling it up here. Okay, here we go. Prebiotic fiber resistant starch are so healthy they ferment too. Oh, it's about how do you a person with requiring SIBO recommend? Looks like they're looking for a SIBO recommendation. So I believe the product they're referring to is our Sun Spectrum product, which contains a branded fiber called Sun Fiber. And it's actually the only nutritional product that I'm aware of right now that's branded that was in a SIBO study, and they paired it with rifaximin. And the rifaximin had about a 37% cure rate. And when they add the rifaximin to the Sun Fiber, the cure rate for SIBO went to 87%. So it's a fantastic product for SIBO. It's just that the hydrolyzation process, doesn't cause the histamine or the fermentation reaction that you would think with fiber. It also has a bunch of other really nice benefits as well. But hopefully that answers that question about the SIBO.
Okay. And SIBO is everywhere, and I've got my thoughts on SIBO. There's many issues around that, and
yeah. Well, I believe the gallbladder plays a huge role in it as well, and I believe you do as well. So
yeah, for sure. And the low stomach acid and motility, of course, and the food styles and antibiotics and all that. But yeah, and so and Troy, what was that other question you were going to answer about that beta something?
Yep. It says that they had a computer test, states that my beta fructosidase is deficient. What would be the consequence of this? Which enzymes do I need to take? So again, anything to do with, you can kind of see that in there as far as fructose or sugar. So mainly, obviously you'd want to take an enzyme, and this would fall back in the digestive region, right? So there's a couple different lines of thought. I mean, at least if one of those is the enzyme factor from Dr. Shinya, where he talks about, and I personally have believe in the same theory, that the body's a warehouse for enzymes, and you need base enzymes or source enzymes in order for the body to create or generate the other enzymes that are required or needed at that specific moment or time. We know of over 5,000 different enzymes. Well, the body's not large enough to house all of those enzymes at one time. So again, the base enzymes and making sure that you have those available. And a lot of that is through, used to be originally through the foods we ate, right? The raw fermented foods, things of that nature that contain the enzymes and probiotics in the food. We don't do that anymore. So supplementing with a digestive enzyme is a great option to that. And especially what you'd want to look for here is anything to deal with carbohydrates or carbolytic enzymes. So anything from amylase, bacterial amylase, glucoamylase, and then your lactase, sucrase would probably be the number one thing you want, which is also another word for sucrase is invertase. So you'd want to look for those two enzymes in particular. And again, this is just going to go back to the body's ability to completely break down starches or complex carbohydrates into simple sugars that the body can utilize.
Okay, well, good. Well, thank you. Helpful. And Troy, or you, or sorry, Jason or Troy.
Yeah.
Myrna asked, she is missing her gallbladder. Can one still use Sun Fiber with optimal results?
Um, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it would probably be even more important if you don't have a gallbladder than if you
Yeah,
did.
that was
And
my thought too.
right, the sun spectrum that we have is a sun fiber product. We wanted to make a gut-based product that wasn't your traditional glutamine-based, gut healing and repair product. So we made a product with the sun fiber, and we used a branded curcumin. It's called C3 Reduct. That's got triple the half-life and triple the bioavailability of regular curcumin. And then Troy actually did a study with Astrozyme, which is kind of a patented thing we put in all of our products that we own the rights to. You get a 97% absorption rate increase in curcumin. So that is obviously going to be really good to help, the liver without having its best friend, the gallbladder there. So absolutely, I just feel it'd be even more important for someone to take. If you didn't have a gallbladder, I would say take the sun spectrum. If you did, sun fiber might be enough for you.
Yeah, and okay, thanks. And Troy, you had a comment too about how we have a bunch of enzymes living in us, and our foods are supposed to be high in these natural enzymes, especially fermented foods. But they are coming back. Kombucha and kimchi and all that people are eating more of. Lassi in India and so on. But others aren't because of histamine issues. So that's been ruined. But our food is, most of our foods are dead. So, they're radiated, they're cooked, they're packaged, they're pasteurized. And now, the enzymatic activity of these foods is probably next to none. So we're relying completely on our own bodies to digest it without the assistance of, the incoming enzymes, which I think is a huge problem.
Right.
So the comment that I hear all the time, and I'd love you guys to hear your professional opinion on it, because this is what you guys do. I hear always, if I take a pancreatic enzyme, it will feed back and inhibit my pancreas. My pancreas will shut down and it won't do it anymore when I stop.
Yeah, I'll start and then I'm sure Troy can finish. But yeah, we get this question all the time. Well, I think you kind of already answered that question with your comments about like what has happened to our food supply. I mean, our body is naturally designed to get the additional enzymes it needs from food, right? So in the perfect world, we would be getting these things from nature every single day, but we're not. So now the best chance we have is to make the way the body originally was designed to function is to try to take something that is a food-based enzyme to at least get back to even the playing field to where if I eat, some fruit and vegetables, I'll get the enzymes I need. So when I hear that argument, it's kind of crazy to me. Like, let's say, maybe you're a raw foodist and you're fermenting your own food. You don't have a histamine problem and you've been living in the mountains for your whole life. Yeah, I would say, you probably don't need to worry about taking a digestive enzyme. But if you live in our world, I think that's the closest thing we can do to try to mimic the original plan and get back to the even the playing field the way it was supposed to be done, is to take especially a plant-based or a fermented based.
Yeah, great point. And 10/11ths of our patients are, if we're talking weird like Troy, 10/11ths of our patients are under stress. And if they're under stress, their parasympathetics aren't firing, and then their enzymes aren't releasing. They might be making them, but they're not releasing them. So
yeah, that's another fantastic point.
I can see that.
Yeah, we could
useful.
Do a lot. And just the disaster that's created from the low enzymes and then the hydrochloric acid having to work double as fast because it doesn't have the pepsin it needs. I really believe like all this mess really starts with our lack of enzymes, our lack of hydrochloric acid, inability to disinfect our food, and just sets the body for a beautiful stage for disease.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay. And another common question. I have a patient who has infections in, say, H. pylori, and that H. pylori has created an ulcer. And I want to kill the H. pylori, but I want to use enzymes. Can I use enzymes before, I heal their ulcer?
I always say yes, let's try it. Quite often I'll have people like open the enzyme and steep it into like a lukewarm cup of tea just to see how they do it on an empty stomach. And then I'll have them do that and see if they do okay for, 2, 3, 4 days. And then I'll have them continue to do that as long as it's not creating a bunch of irritation throughout a good 3-week process. And then hoping that is acting as a, cleaning up some of the scar tissue, healing the ulcer a bit before I would start hydrochloric acid. And then if the patient is an autoimmune, I'd love to use green tea along the way. It's the Th2 stimulants, but it's still such a wonderful thing. There's so much great research on what the green tea can do is keep the H. pylori in the stomach so the body can, get at it, and it can keep it under control from reproducing. So that's usually what I do for an H. pylori program. But some people, it's just too much, and you have to start with like aloe vera or something like that and get them to the point where they can handle the enzyme. But we try it, and if I'd say probably 70% of the time it's not a problem.
And what product is that?
Digestzyme.
Digestzyme. Okay, so you would start with Digestzyme and not Digestzyme Plus. That would make sense. Right?
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. Question came in here. Kim asked, she's a licensed healthcare professional. How do I go about setting up an account with the company? Well, Kim, you come to ShyCon.
The only way.
It's the only way. That's how these guys remain in business.
That's right.
Yeah, no, you can go to US Enzymes and sign up there. Or
yep, just usenzymes.com, request an account, and we obviously will want to make sure they're a licensed healthcare practitioner before we open the account.
Right.
And as soon as we do that, we'll get you set up, and you'll get access to the back portion of our website where we put the clinician exclusive research and videos and all that kind of stuff that we save for the docs.
Awesome. And Kim, while you're at it, while we're talking with each other, I was told by Rose, who's organizing the conference, she goes, be sure to mention the coupon code Gut Health for a 10% off coupon towards your registration at ShyCon. And this will expire April 5th. So Troy, Jason, you guys have a promotion too you want to throw out?
We do. And what's the coupon code for that, Troy? Do you know?
I don't.
I'm sorry, our Rose is gone for the day.
Yeah.
But can we?
You just let us know and we'll send it by email. So just be on
Okay.
alert for an email and
Yep.
we'll send it out for people.
I'll make sure we get that to you by tomorrow morning.
Perfect. Myrna, if one starts using hydrochloric acid and digestive enzymes, is it an ongoing necessity lifelong? I will quickly say, hope not. It's definitely a lot of teaching your health professional has to guide you with, but you should be able to eat the right foods, but it all depends on you. And I'll turn it over to Jason and Troy too.
Yeah, I would say, always have some on hand because Christmas is going to come and you're going to go out to eat in a restaurant. And I wouldn't, even if you're gluten-free, I wouldn't, eat at a restaurant without, some kind of a really good digestive enzyme or DPP4 player and HCl. But yeah, if you're going to do the right thing and make the right life choices and eat the correct foods, then no is the answer. The ultimate goal is to have people take very, very little nutrition and make the right choices to, people weren't popping pills 300 years ago, at least not for health reasons, right?
They didn't need to.
Yeah, exactly. So if we can, get the patient back to making the right decisions, then the minimum amount of stuff that they can take, the better, always.
Right. So Kim, you said you're gonna go sign up for an account. I hope you're still with us. See, that's why I should have said that at the end. You can't go register for an account. You gotta listen
Right.
to stuff.
You gotta listen, right?
So Christine, she's experimented with good quality digestive and systemic enzymes dozens of times, hasn't gone well. Digestive enzymes causing gut inflammation after just one use, even just a partial capsule. Systemic enzymes leave achy and miserable with sharp pains. Is this a histamine problem, or what is it?
Oh man, that's a really good question. It could be a lot of different things. Is she working with a doctor right now that's in the group?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm
Okay.
not positive. But let's just say that I've had the same thing with patients where
Yeah.
try a systemic enzyme or digestive enzymes. I usually do have luck with, but maybe there's an egg protein right in there because sometimes you have egg.
Yep.
What is it? Lysozyme is egg derived, but I mean, do you have any
Right.
egg protein left in that?
It's one of those things that, at least from my perspective, and again, the ETA, that whatever the source you started from is not in the end product, but I think you still have to label it as such for that. So it's just being kind of erring on the side of caution.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't recommend it. And
Right.
it's not in any of our products.
Lysozyme is not.
No.
No, we don't. Our products are 100% vegan.
Nice. Yeah, I guess fungus and plants are vegan.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
there are other systemic enzymes that are animal based. We don't use any of them, and we do have rice extract in our product, which we use for the encapsulation process, so we don't have to use magnesium stearate. And I've talked to Risto Vijani even about this, and he's like, if you have a rice issue, there's just no way this can create a problem because there's absolutely zero protein in it. We just use it as a lubricant.
Mm-hmm.
But back to, I feel like we're leaving this poor woman hanging. Yeah, I mean, I guess I would like to know what kind of enzymes has she been trying. Has she tried fermented enzymes before? And has she tried, fermented systemic enzymes before? If yes, then yeah, it could be a histamine problem. It could be an emotional problem. It could be, there's been some kind of trauma to her stomach from like an old injury or something that is causing the body not to, flow through the nerve channels properly. It could be so many different things. It could be, hiatal hernia or something like that. That it'd just be, for this kind of case, it'd be great for me to consult with her doc and get to know more about her case, and then try things from there. So I'm sorry I couldn't give a better answer.
No, I hear you. So stool testing. That is a whole other can of worms, figuratively and literally. If a patient does a stool test, and many times they'll get the test back and they'll say, nothing's really there. But then I'm hearing from docs, like Dr. Anju Usman, who will use enzymes, and she'll say, many times I'll use a biofilm buster prior to doing a stool test to get more out or see more. What do you guys do? I mean, do you guys have any recommendations for health professionals, prior to having your patient provide a stool sample? Are there any products that you recommend to ensure that something's going to be found, or to show something?
Yep. We have a general just gut kind of detox protocol, and I always tell the docs, do that for a good 30 days before you run a stool test, because you're going to get, you're not going to get the right information. You get false negative, false positive. We start with the sun spectrum digestive enzyme, hydrochloric acid, most patients, and then we have a broad spectrum systemic that we start most of our patients on, called Therazyme. That's got a couple different types of protease. It's got serratiopeptidase. It's got nattokinase, and the nattokinase we use is completely soy-free. So a lot of people don't know that you can get natto without soy. So just so people are wondering. And then it contains C-Prozas, catalase, and a few other enzyme players all in one. And that's the one we usually start just about anyone off on. And after 30 days, you'll have a lot more accurate stool test.
Okay, cool. Makes sense. Yeah, you guys are getting me excited to start playing with these things. And I had another one. What was it? Dang it. Oh, mold.
This is a good one, yes.
Yeah, so mold in homes everywhere. tough to get rid of. Sauna is a big recommendation by many environmental docs. Glutathione obviously is key. I recently learned about a year ago that mycotoxins actually inhibit the production of glutathione, which is really interesting. You know, so mycotoxin, you know, it's a thing, and I would assume that enzymes can get in there and help destroy those things, right? I mean, what enzymes in particular, because I have a buddy of mine who's struggling, I'm confident that it's his home, producing all this mold.
Yep.
And, you know, he's denying it, but he stays sick. So, you know, so
it's not right. Yep.
no, and his doc said, you know, I want you taking serratia peptidase, and I told him, you know, to go get some and go from there. But he's not getting better. So what enzymes do you look at for dealing with mycotoxins and mold?
Quite a few, actually, because mold is a really tricky player. It's got a lot of different defense mechanisms. So we use for sure the C-Pros S, because biofilms are a big player with mold. Bromeline's a really nice player to help with mold detox, to detach, to help with inflammation sites that they hides in. And then the proteolytic or the protease helps destroy the proteins that they like to latch onto. And then we have another product coming out soon that's got a calcium-based bentonite clay that's got probably the best mycotoxin research on it, and a nutritional product I've seen. And it absorbs mycotoxins. It's actually been studied in food supplies where there was nothing available but mycotoxin-laden corn for people to eat, and they were able to, you know, stay healthy and get well from mold poisoning. So, and then chitinase or chitinase is referred to. That is, you know, one of the mold's favorite defense layers is chitin or chitin, and chitinase breaks that down. So those are those enzymes for sure. And then the calcium bentonite clay. You have to be careful with bentonite clay that it's calcium based, or else it can cause a lot of problems, dehydrate you, rip minerals out of you. So those are the main things I always use in a mold detox program. Glutathione, obviously, coffee enemas if the patient will do it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And assume most enzymes are done, unless your digestive enzymes and hydrochloric acid, most are typically done away from food, right?
Yeah. Yep. So I know that's a real big pain in most protocols, but what I like about, again, our enzymes is they're potent. So for me, the most important time to take an enzyme is in the evening, you know, when the body's healing, while you're sleeping. So I have the patient take 2 when they go to sleep at night, and then I have them take another one when they rise in the morning. And as long as they wait a good 30 minutes to eat their meal, they can just leave it in the medicine cabinet, and they don't have to mess with, you know, trying to remember to take something in the middle of the day. So that's a really good point. But yeah, systemic enzymes are best taken away from food. Even digestive enzymes can be used systemically for detox away from food, but yes, with the meal. So.
Okay. So I'm going to ask both of you this question. You both look quite healthy. Troy, you've gone up and down big mountains twice and lived, which is something to say. So I want to hear from you, what products from the company US Enzymes are you taking personally, and why?
I'm a supplement head, Ben. I take pretty much all of them at certain points. But like just in my office here, I take Digeszyme whenever I eat out, for sure. Whenever I'm not eating something that I know is, you know, healthy. I take the Therazyme every day, which is our broad spectrum systemic. So it's got a little bit of all the systemic enzymes we use in the same product. I take the Sun Fiber, and then I take our multi-strain probiotic pretty much every day, the Biomezyme. And then the other ones when I go into I want to try to work on this, or I want to try to work on that. But those ones are ones and the HCL, of course. Those are the ones I almost never miss. Okay.
Are you intolerant to histamine foods or drinks?
Not that I'm aware of. I haven't had a lab test done, but
but you can drink red wine or high histamine foods and be okay?
For the most part, yeah. Like if I drink too much red wine, I probably don't feel the greatest the next day, but that could be
Who does?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Who does?
But I usually do fine with kombucha and things like that. But I know a lot of patients, like Dr. Balkevich, who's going to be speaking at the conference. He's got a lot of patients with histamine issues that use the products and do really, really well on them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Troy, what about you?
I start every morning with our shake. So we have a protein powder. Absolutely love that. I add some fiber to that. So I start the day with that. Digestive enzymes throughout the day. And then at night, kind of my go-to for the last 25 years. I mean, I take systemic enzymes and probiotics together before I go to bed. So that's pretty much my routine.
So the systemic enzymes don't hurt the probiotics?
No.
Okay. They're good friends. They're good buddies.
Okay. That's good to know. And post-workout, so say you got a guy or a gal who's just really into working out, and are there enzymes that are useful for post-workout soreness?
Huge. Well, if you're like a diehard endurance athlete, nattokinase is amazing for keeping blood oxygen really, really high and keep your blood ideal viscosity. So if you're really into endurance type training, that would be like at the top of the list. And then for the recovery, it'd be your Therazyme and Serazyme, which are your typical serratiopeptidase and proteases that have been shown to be really beneficial for breaking down lactic acid and rebuilding tissues and all that kind of stuff. I feel like I'm stepping in Troy's territory here because he's the mountain climbing man. There's a ERC enzymology research flag, center flag on the top of Mount Everest, and that's one of the big reasons he says he's able to do these kind of crazy things. So Troy, I'm sure you got some things to add to the post-workout, probably the protein as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we did a collaboration. So AstraZyme is an awesome study that we looked at the absorption, not two parts. So it's the breakdown of proteins and the absorption rate and the quantities of amino acids and peptides that are actually absorbed, through the Keiko2 cell wall. So it was way beyond our wildest imagination as far as the results. So it broke down 90 to 96% of the protein within a 30-minute time frame in a very wide pH. And then the second part of that, the increase was anywhere between 30 and 60% as far as the rate of amino acid absorption, as well as the quantity of amino acids that were actually absorbed or utilized. So as far as if you want to get better, and back out on the road, I mean, a great, digestive enzyme with AstraZyme in it is going to take you a long way.
Okay. And so you would just take that after working out?
Yep.
Okay.
And I would say the Therazyme too for the the lactic acid and some of the the breaking down of the tissues help recover from that.
Okay. And no gut issues typically taking what was the name of that product again?
Therazyme. So it's like therapyzyme. So
Okay.
TAERA.
Okay.
YXYM.
Okay. And so no issues.
Very, 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 very rarely.
Okay. And you mentioned his name and he popped up, Dr. Eric here, Balkevich.
Oh, yes.
Hey, Eric. So he said, you got to talk about Serazyme. So he said it's awesome for reducing inflammation. He's seen CRP drop dramatically with it. So I'll let you guys take that.
Yeah, I mean, thanks, Eric. Great guy. Looking forward to hearing him speak at the conference. So yeah, Serazyme is it's a fermented serratiopeptidase at a super high dose. So it's one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory agents out there for its ability just to break down proteins that are attached to chronic infections. Scar tissue is what it's also most famous for, where a lot of these things like to hide. And then it's really, really good for cleansing the brush border sites, of the intestinal wall. Troy, anything else to add? But yeah, it's amazing to see chronic CRP drop in patients that didn't just have like a cold or something like that where it's been chronically high, and to get that down with just a single product, it's nice. So anyway, sorry, Troy.
So, and just from the back end, because I come from manufacturing, so manufacturing all the products for different companies as far as the enzymes, it's always the source. So I would say that 95%, if not more, of this particular enzyme is sourced from India. So that's not where we obtain this enzyme. So it actually comes from a pharmaceutical facility out of South Korea. So the quality of this product, the cost of this product, the efficacy of this product is not even comparable to what is out in the marketplace. And the reason why we don't do that is because of there was only one enzyme recall in the history of 120 years, and that happened 3 years ago. And the country that caused that recall was India. So, enough said.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Source is important. Okay. Well, thanks, Eric, for bringing that up.
Yeah. I should mention, since we're talking about Dr. Eric, and one of your huge passions is the gallbladder, is we're currently working with him, and we love working with doctors to make products for that are going to be unique and for very specific things. Like, we never want to have 100 product line, like 30 would be the max, and we have about 13 now. Is we're going to work with Eric to formulate a really unique product for gallbladder function. So super excited to be working with him on that. Just having a blast doing research with him, and then of course handing over to Troy to see if we can find what we want and find it the optimal quality. So
awesome. Yeah, it's needed. A lot of people's gallbladders are locked shut.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've got just a couple minutes left. Anything else you guys want to share that I've missed?
Oh, let's see. I've got some notes here. Oh, one thing that I'm sure most docs know this, but all enzymes and systemic enzymes are Th1 and Th2 neutral. The only product we actually work with that isn't Th1, Th2 neutral is we have a green tea that we really like, a super clean green tea, which you have to be careful with the Th2 patients. So, that I get that question a lot. Troy, a lot of the doctors we work with are also really into functional neurology, and there's amazing research on proteolytic enzymes and all types of different neurologic issues, but it's one of the few things that's been shown to be able to break down amyloid beta plaques in the brain. So if you're Alzheimer's patients, your TBI patients, enzymes are just a really, really, really nice player for them. I get a lot of testimonials of people, having massive improved neurologic function when they're taking systemic enzymes as well.
Is that an indirect effect? I wouldn't think they would cross the blood-brain barrier, would they?
Actually, they do. Enzymes can get in certain places that a lot of things can't. So enzymes can cross the brain-blood barrier. I was surprised when I
Wow.
heard that as well. And they're good. Like C-Pros S has been shown to be good for healing the integrity of the brain-blood barrier as well. So it's another one. So I'm just looking through my notes. Troy, chime in if you've got anything that you think we need to.
I'll just jump in because with the products in this company, I mean, because of my history in 25 years of producing hundreds of different enzymes for different companies, I just never felt like anybody was doing it right. So we took a very, systematic approach to this, looked at, obviously we've talked sourcing today, that's key. I mean, we're probably one of the very few enzyme companies on the planet that I go, I know exactly where my enzymes came from. I've been to the facility, I know the people, right? And I do 100% of the manufacturing. I do not outsource one part of it. That's important to me. Then we looked at the potency of the enzymes. There's a lot of enzymes out there that have very low potencies. I mean, the Wobenzyme, right? Very low activity. You got to take a ton of them to get a result. I mean, I don't like that. I mean, we looked at purity. People and maybe that gal that had issues taking enzymes, the 90+% of what's in the enzyme should be enzymes. I don't see that. I see a lot of herbs. I see like 400 milligrams of herbs, 50 milligrams of enzymes. I don't know how you can legally, morally, ethically call that an enzyme. It should just be called herbs with some enzymes. So the purity part, we just want enzymes. That's what produces the results. That's what we focus on. Diversity, we talked about that, the number of different enzymes. Most companies have, 5 to 10, not 23 different enzymes in their digestive enzymes. And the last piece, we did touch on that too. I mean, we love glass bottles. We love that 7 months out of the year have 31 days. So our products are in multiples of 31, 62, or 93 doses, that are offered. And I'm a freak about time. So those, I've watched people unscrew screw lids back on. It's like, I mean, you waste probably 2 weeks of your life doing that. So we have the flip top that you pop it open and snap it shut. So there's just a lot of thought, I mean, in every aspect went into this product, and we've not seen anything like it in the marketplace. So that's where we're extremely proud of what we have to offer and excited to get it out into the marketplace.
Yeah, it sounds like you should be.
Since Troy's on a roll here, the glass is it's cobalt blue. And why I feel it's really important with like it's enzymes or probiotics, things that are alive, is they need the extra protection from the light.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
that's just another step that's, I guess, been taken.
Good. Well, and I'll have to say it matches almost the Seahawks colors too. So that's good.
Hey, Marshawn Lynch might come out of retirement. We probably go to Oakland, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, he'll need a lot of enzymes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, he needs to call you and we'll get him back on the field, right?
Yeah. Well, I just kick him right back over to you. Yeah.
Well, they should have gave him a ball in that second Super Bowl. Everyone knows that.
Yes, they should have. But I think that's what probably Pete Carroll was thinking. That it's like, oh, he's going to get the ball, so let's do something different. Well, oops. It's just a trophy.
Right.
Yeah. So, and probably $1 million each player.
Right.
So Kim, she goes, I hope my account requests will be accepted only if you go to ShyCon.
Right.
She's got a lot of surgical patients with joint replacements who would definitely benefit from these enzymes. Yeah, absolutely. We touched on that.
Yeah, anyone that's listening, my email address is just jason@usenzymes.com. And like what I do all day is talk to doctors and help them with cases. So that's like 90% of my job is helping with the cases. So, hit me up and, not only can I train you about the products, but I can help you with the tough patients, or if you have stuff going on with your own health, that's always a good place to start for you to, dip your toe in, and we can see if we can help you out.
Fantastic. Good. Yeah, it's there's no better way to test a product than on yourself. You got to experience it. Well, good. Well, thanks for your time, both of you guys, and be safe.
Yeah,
you will. Forward to see you guys in a few weeks. And
we can't wait.
Yep.
Yeah. And yeah, be sure to email Rose the coupon code for US Enzymes, so people can get started now and not have to wait for ShyCon. Right. And for those of you who are on the fence about coming to ShyCon, well, get off of it, jump on the other side, and I want to see you there in a few weeks. And Rose has given you a little incentive to use the enzyme code GUTHEALTH to save 10%, and you register at seekinghealth.org. So
Troy can give you mountain climbing tips.
Yeah.
Free mountain climbing tips.
That's right. Yeah. Well, nothing's free when you mountain climb.
That's true.
Yeah. Every breath is a lot of effort, every step. So, all right. Well, thanks you both. And
thanks so much, Dr. Ben.
Thank you.
Good to talk with you. Looking forward to seeing you soon. All right.
Good. Goodbye.
Good night.
Bye-bye.